All right. You're gonna learn today.
What's up, YouTube? So today I'm going to be removing the valve body from the 46 RE that's in my 2001 Dodge Ram van. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I'm removing it. I do have to replace the reverse servo. I am going to also be looking for any more pieces of the broken snap ring, any more loose metal that might be wedged up there on top of it. So I'm doing that for inspection. But I'm also going to be replacing this. Now, this is the valve retainer for the boost valve, and this is the new spring. So if you look here in this book, you can see right here and right here. Now, it's on top of the valve body. So this is not a job that you can do with the valve body in the van. You have to pull it out to do it because the location is on top. Now, this is why I love these service manuals. Let me just take a second real quick. This is why I love these service manuals. So if you guys have any older vehicles especially, but I mean, you can always Google this stuff and watch a bunch of videos. And there's a lot of great information out there, but there's also a lot of misinformation out there. Now, I personally, whenever I get a vehicle, I always go and try to get the service manual. Now, you see this? Specifically for the 2001 Ram van and wagon, look how thick it is. It is much better than buying a Haynes or a Chilton. Those are good books, but these are the dealer service manuals, and I'm telling you, it's a world of difference. Look how thick this is. And because they're older vehicles, these are usually cheap. Believe it or not, I got a set of 4. I got this and some other manuals they had for the van for $5. That's all I paid for this, $5. So, and I think it was like $20 shipping. So I'm $25 in for a set of 4 books. But look how thick this is. You'll pay that just for one Chilton's out of Pep Boys. So absolutely, I'm going to recommend that you guys get it. I will leave a link below if you guys want to see if they have a service manual for your vehicles. But I've so far been able to find them for every car I buy. Now, of course, they're not all going to be $5, so you got to look for the deal. But I'll leave the link anyway. So what I'm going to be replacing, or upgrading, I should say, is the boost valve spring and retainer. Now, let me explain something. So, by my understanding, what this does and what this controls is the line pressure. Like this is part of the components that control the line pressure in your transmission. Now, from the factory, they put a plastic retainer in. So the factory one, when I pull it out, is going to be plastic. The problem with the plastic one is it does break. It's old, you know, that's for one. But 2, it's under a lot of pressure. And this valve is pushing this spring up against it. And yeah, over time, it either will move or it will break. And so the symptoms, apparently, what I've read is that the symptoms are, it'll sound like the torque converter is like locking and unlocking. It almost will kind of feel like it's slipping or it's searching for the gear, like it's like revving and locking in between gears. Apparently, if your van or whatever vehicle is doing that, then this is one of the possible problems. I have experienced it. I didn't think too much about it because it doesn't happen all the time. But it does happen from time to time where it feels like it's kind of searching for the gear. I think usually between like 1 and 2, it'll feel like it's kind of searching for the gear. So when I was going to get the 3/4 accumulator spring as a maintenance upgrade, I did learn about this. And so they make one in metal. This is the upgrade that they do make. These are supposed to be a one-time thing. So once you replace this, you never have to do this again. They're calling it unbreakable, and I guess because the pressure is not enough to break this one. And this is the upgraded spring. So that is what I'm going to do today. So we're going to pull the valve body out of the van. We're going to check for any more damage, and we are going to replace the boost valve spring and valve retainer and the spring. Alright, YouTube, so I will cut you guys on when I get underneath the van so we can start taking that out. Alright, YouTube, so I'm under the van. So the removal should be pretty simple. You're gonna have to take these off, take the cables off, and then there's bolts back here, and there's one here, and then these should all slide right off that shaft. Once you get that out, there's a plug here. I already pulled that off, so there's a plug here. And then there's 10 bolts holding the valve cover in. There's 3 on each side, and then there's 4 at the other end. And then you should be able to pull it out. Now, I am not going to bore you guys by watching me unscrew these bolts. So let me pull this thing out. And once I get everything pulled out, I will just meet you guys. See, just like that, it pops right off. And then this one, pop right off. See, pop right off. So now I just got to take these off and then take out the 10 bolts. But I'm not going to bore you guys by having you watch me unscrew bolts. So once I get this pulled out, I will meet you back at the workbench. Okay, well, as you see, it's on the workbench. Now, the first thing I noticed, someone's already replaced it. If you look right here, it is a metal retainer on there. Now, I'm still going to replace it because the ones I bought, this is a Sonnex boost valve retainer, and this is a Tran1sgo Performance Boost spring. I don't know what spring that is. It might be the original one. I don't know. So while I got it out, I'm just going to replace it, and I guess I'll keep that retainer for something else. Now, it was actually, let me put this down a second, pretty easy to get it out, mainly because the shift rod, I didn't have to deal with it. Now, because I already have the overdrive removed. But for you guys that's going to be pulling your valve body out with the shift rod, you need to put the transmission into low. That's what they suggest. Put it all the way in a low, and it's supposedly a little wiggle will be easier to get out. Now, there were some more shavings and broken pieces of metal found. I know you can see the grit. Hopefully the camera's picking up, but you can see some of the grit, and you can see right here, there's quite a bit right here. Look at that. So all of this has to get cleaned out. Everything has to get cleaned out before I put it back in. But also right here, that came out as well. This is the new retainer, but this metal fell out with it. And also here is the accumulator. Now when the accumulator, it just fell out when I removed the valve body. So I was like, oh, where does this go? So we have this and this, and I didn't know where this spring came from. But going back to the book, you can see it right here. Here's the accumulator, and there's that spring, and then that's the inner spring. So it basically sets up like this, where that'll go in here, and that'll go in here, and then this will go inside, and then you cover it with the plate. So, for those who don't know what the accumulator does, according to the service manual, the accumulator is a hydraulic device that has the sole purpose of cushioning the application of a band or clutch. So that's what this does. Alright, now they do make these in billet, so I am most likely going to replace it. I don't know if I'll get the billet one. We'll see, but I'm going to replace it while I have it out. And so yeah, so give me a second and let me turn this thing around, get set up so we can replace this replace this spring, and then we're gonna wrap this video up. Give me a second. Alright, so we set up. So now all we have to do to replace the spring and the retainer is to remove the top plate, and this is being held in by 3 T25 bolts. So this is going to be fairly easy. So and there you have it. So Only thing I should have to do, that lifts right up. And there's a spring. That was it. So, put the new spring in place. And then I think here's going to come the fun part of trying to get it up. Oh! Okay. That was take one. That was what not to do. Hold on, let me grab it. Alright, we back for take two. So, okay, we're going to try it again. The spring is in play. We're going to try to push this thing on. Make sure the spring doesn't get kinked up. You need it to kind of flow clean. Wait a minute. There we have it. Okay. So that was it. Looks to be straight. Just make sure everything is straight. Okay. Alright, YouTube. So that's it. It's in there. Now, we just got to put the plate back on. Plate is nice and clean. Slip it back. You know, some people do all this stuff with power tools. It makes me nervous. I'd hate to have to strip one of these bolts. So, okay. And there you have it, YouTube. That's it. We have replaced the spring as well as the retainer. It fits beautifully. Now this is the one I took out, and it is much thinner, and you could tell that the spring is different also. So I don't know how long this has been in here, but you know, they probably just had the retainer replaced. This might be the OEM spring. So alright, YouTube, peace of mind. That is done. Don't have to think about it anymore. So next video, we are going to change the governor as well as the transducer switch, which is here. We got to flip it over. But we are going to change this on the next video. Hold on, let me flip it over real quick. Yeah. Alright, so this is what we're replacing. This is the OEM one. And we're going to replace this switch in that. Alright, so in the next video, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the like button, and share it. I'd appreciate it. Alright, I'll catch you on the next one.